In the last tutorial, we saw how the if-else statement can be useful in decision making. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss the control structures in C language. Now, what are the control structures? Control structures are a type of structures or statements, or you can say instructions to the computer with the help of which we can change the flow of the program. The if-else statement can help you decide what to do now, but the control structures may help you decide what to do next. Now let's see all the control structures one by one. The first that we have is the for loop. The for loop is used to repeat a particular task for a number of times. Now suppose you want to print the multiplication table of a number, say 11. So now you have two options, either to print 11 into something is equal to something for 10 times, or just use the for loop and write it only one time. Let me show you how we will do this. So now I am taking an integer int number is equal to 11. So int I is equal to 0, or we don't need to initialize it now. Now for loop, for initialization, I is equal to 1 semicolon, condition I is less than or equal to 10, increment I plus plus. Now the for loop body, printf %d for multiplicand into %d for multiplier is equal to %d for result, and at the end /n. Now this /n is used to move to the next line. So comma. Now we will pass the multiplicand, that is number, comma. Now we will pass the multiplier, that is I, and the next is the result, that is number into I, at the end semicolon. So the program is complete. Let's just try and run it. So as you can see, it is printing the multiplication table. Now let me explain you what just happened. The for statement, as you can see, is itself a combination of three statements, that is the initialization, the condition, and the increment decrement. Now in for loop we have a counter, that is this I. This counter is initialized at the beginning and is initialized only once. Then we have the condition statement. If this condition is satisfied, then only the for loop will be executed. When the for loop body ends, the control jumps to this increment and decrement statement. Here in this statement, the counter is modified, that is, it is incremented or decremented, and then the control again passes to this condition, not this initialization but this condition. And again here the counter is modified, that's why it checks one more time that whether the counter is less than or equal to 10 or not. If this condition is satisfied, then the for loop will be executed again and again and again. But if this condition is not satisfied, then the for loop will end and will not repeat again. So this was the for loop. The next is the while loop. Now the for loop and the while loop both are looping structures. The main difference is that the for loop initializes, checks the condition, and increments or decrements the counter. Whereas in case of while loop, the while loop only checks the condition, and as long as the condition is true, the while loop is executed. Now let me show you how can we use the while loop in the same program. What we will do is we will initialize the counter here as 1, and we will replace this for with while, and we will just keep the condition here, and we will remove this increment, and this will remain the same. And as the while loop does not increment the counter itself, we will have to increment it as I is equal to I plus 1. You can also write this as I plus plus. This plus plus is an increment operator. So let's just run this program. Now as you can see, the multiplication table is being printed. So you must be thinking, why would we use the while loop if we have the for loop? The answer is that in this program, we know that we have to print the answer 10 times. But there can be cases where we don't know how many times we need to execute a certain task. For example, you are hungry, but you don't know how much you will eat. So you cannot use the for loop here. But in this case, we can frame the while loop as while you are hungry, you will eat. So once your stomach is full, the condition of being hungry will be false, so we will stop eating. Now, there is one more looping structure, that is the do while loop. It is similar to the while loop, but there are two main differences. In while loop, the condition is checked at the beginning of the loop, and in do while loop, the condition is checked at the end of the loop. In while loop, the minimum number of times the code can be executed is 0. But in do while loop, the code is executed at least once. For example, when guests visit our house, we offer them some water. Then if they are still thirsty, we offer them more water. So in this case, we offer them water at least once. So this example can be framed in do while loop as do serve water while the guests are thirsty. We can also use the do while loop instead of the while loop. Now let me show you how we can use the do while loop in multiplication table. We will first cut this and paste this here, and we will put a semicolon here, and we will just write do here, and that's it. So let's try and run this. Now as you can see, the multiplication table is printed. So today we learned about the while loop, the do while loop, and the for loop. It's recommended to watch the tutorial again and again until you understand all the control structures. So that's it for this tutorial. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you later.